NetsBoy, so let's hear what he has to say. His name is NetsBoy, he thinks the world is all over when the Nets just can't play. What up, Net fans? NetsBoy here, bring your latest in your apparently Kevin Durant is back Brooklyn Nets news. All right, so this episode is going to be basically just about that. The Kevin Durant saga and the fact that when it's all said and done, at least for now, Kevin Durant is staying with the Nets and has agreed to stay with them for the near future. I emphasize near future because we have no idea what's going to happen beyond this. This is obviously news that happened like 2 weeks ago. It's kind of old news, but I was just patiently waiting to see if any more details came out about why he made the request in the first place, what really changed his mind after making, the ultimatum about it's either Steve Nash or Sean Marks or me and all that stuff. I just kind of waited and sat back to watch and see what transpired. But nothing else really came out. So I guess we won't really get any answers until, Media Day, which is still about a couple weeks away. It's currently August 31st, right before Labor Day weekend. We'll just see what happens. So let's just dive right in and let's talk about what it is that had happened and transpired and some of the things that I feel happened and why things went down the way they went. Look, I don't really know what his reasoning was for asking for the trade. I've talked about this before in my last NetsBoy episode, which I was really animated and upset about it. I said I didn't understand how after everything the Nets did for Kevin Durant, from bringing on Kyrie Irving to bringing on DeAndre Jordan at $40 million to hiring Steve Nash after firing Kenny Atkinson because he didn't like him and that was his guy, to trading for James Harden and then trading James Harden away and all these things that they were doing. I still don't understand it. I understand it was a disaster of a season last year, and it's really been a disaster of a tenure for the Nets and Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving since this all manifested, 3 years ago. It's just been a disappointment, and there's no doubt about that. There's no, arguing that it's been a giant disappointment. But it was a disappointment that Kevin Durant is responsible for. He is. Now, he's not the sole person responsible, but he's a major factor to the debauchery that was the Nets season last year and what has been this Nets team over the last couple years. So, him to request a trade still didn't make sense to me. And then all this, Nets wanting so much for Kevin Durant packaging. I mean, look, the Nets never wanted to trade Kevin Durant. They never had any desire to trade Kevin Durant, and I don't think they ever were going to trade Kevin Durant. They had him for 4 years under contract. We know that. It was well speculated. That's why this was an unprecedented situation. We never could have imagined a situation where a player with 4 years left in his contract wanted out. I think Sean Marks and Joe Asai knew that there was zero chance Kevin Durant was going to be able to get traded anywhere, and they didn't want to get traded. And so they kept the price super high because they weren't about to drop it. And they also banked on the fact that they did not believe Kevin Durant was really going to double and triple and quadruple down on this and end up sitting out the rest of the whole season. I knew that wasn't going to happen. Sean Marks knew it wasn't going to happen. Joe Asai knew it was going to happen. Everyone knew Kevin Durant wasn't going to do that because that's not Kevin Durant's personality. He just wants to hoop. He says it all the time. And even though he may not be happy in the current situation that he built, he's not going to sit out and waste a year when he's 34, going to be 34 years old, and a chance to win a championship with a team that, by the way, this Nets team on paper is legit on paper. So, but we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that in a future episode because there's still a few more roster moves the Nets need to make, like getting another big, because I don't understand this philosophy of having just Claxton and Day'Ron Sharpe and then we're going to play Ben Simmons at the 5. But we're not going to dive into that right now. They do need another big. They did just sign Markieff Morris. which I like. And, that was the most recent news. We know about T.J. Warren and Royce O'Neal and bring back Patty Mills and Claxton and Iman Saunders and exciting Kessler Edwards. But we're not going to discuss that now. Okay, we're not. But back to Kevin Durant. Oh, he's getting sidetracked, NetsBoy is. We knew he wasn't going to get traded. And he knew he wasn't going to get traded. So that's why this whole mutual agreement after a meeting between Sean Marks, Steve Nash, the SIs, and Kevin Durant and his representatives, and they all got together and they got in the room and they said, you know what? Here's the situation. You're not happy. We're not happy. But we're kind of stuck together at this point. Let's persevere through and let's figure out how to make this work because we have a legit championship caliber roster as long as Kyrie's committed, as long as Ben Simmons' head's on straight, as long as Joe Harris stays healthy, as long as Claxton continues to develop, as long as T.J. Warren becomes the player he was prior to his injury, as long as all these other players fall into place the way we expect them, we've got a legit chance at a championship. Come on, Kevin, let's do this. That was obviously how that meeting went. And Kevin said, you know what? If you guys really can't trade me or you guys can't find something that's good, fine. I'll back off for now, and here I am. And that's how I think everything went down. And that's what I see as being what has transpired. Now, that being said, there is no reason to believe that this will not be a story come the trade deadline this coming year. There is no reason to believe that this isn't what Kevin Durant's saying. You know what? You say you don't have any offers right now. I understand that. I'll play nice for the first half of the season, but if things don't go the way I want, I'm asking again. And this time, you better trade me. There's a very good chance that is how that conversation went. That Kevin Durant pretty much saw that there was not a strong market for him under these circumstances, and also knew that players like the Suns, or teams like the Suns, didn't have the players and the assets to trade for him anymore because they signed and matched players like DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton signed an offer sheet with the Pacers, and it was matched by the Suns. Well, under the collective bargaining agreement, that player cannot be traded. I think it's like 120 days or whatever. It's usually like January 15th. A player that gets signed cannot be traded until January 15th. So immediately, the Suns had no chance of trading for Kevin Durant at that point once they brought back Ayton. And I think Kevin Durant and his representatives knew that. And so I do believe there is a possibility that this is just a truce for now, and that come January 15th and the trade deadline, Kevin Durant might come back to this and say, all right, now you can trade me for players who signed over free agency. All those players who took all those extensions, they're now eligible. Go get them. Do your thing. Get me off this team. That is absolutely a possibility. And I believe that if there is turmoil to start off this season, whether it's Kyrie Irving not showing up, Ben Simmons can't commit, loads of injuries, and let's say the Nets start off the season, 15-15, the first 30 games. I can very easily see Kevin Durant going back to Joe Tsai and Sean Marks saying, all right, I did it your way, I'm out the door. Trade me. And if that's the case, we will be revisiting this and we will be rediscussing all these trades. And there's definitely a chance that could happen. However, there's also a chance that everything falls into place for the Nets, which historically rarely, if ever, happens. But maybe this will be the year that it does. And after 30 games, the Nets are 22-8 or 20-10 and are the 3 seed in the East. And Kevin Durant says, you know what? We kind of got a shot here. I'm going to stick around through this year. And then the Nets can continue their pursuit for a championship. So those are kind of the situations I see right now. I am very interested to see what will be said during the media day. Obviously, this is going to be the number one subject that the media is going to be asking Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and Sean Marks and Steve Nash. Like, the number one question to Steve Nash and Sean Marks, how do you feel about the fact that Kevin Durant wanted you gone? Right? And then Kevin Durant's going to be, Kevin, why did you really want to get traded? And why did you change your mind? And then Kyrie, why did you say you wanted to go to the Lakers, but you ended up opting back in? And Ben Simmons, is your head on straight? Like, it's going to be a fascinating media day when the Nets do have theirs, which I believe, like I said, is I think the end of September is when media day is and training camp starts and all these things. It's going to be interesting. And I'm kind of excited for it. I mean, look, part of me wanted Kevin Durant to be traded because, as I said in my last NetsBoy episode, I'm sick of this guy. He is not, to me, he's a disrespectful superstar that's slapped in the face of net fans. But once again, he was doing what he thought was best for him, and God forbid that anyone ever cares about the people who pay their dollars, their money, their hard-earned cash, the fans, to go support these players. God forbid we're upset that and ridicule these said players who make millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars because they're upset because they get to play a professional sport for a living, while we got to work our 9-to-5s and our minimum wage crappy jobs and our stresses all the time, and then we take that money to go see them, and then they feel like we're in the wrong for when we criticize them. I never understood that, and I've always been a defender of players a lot. I mean, I defend Kyrie Irving all the time. I never understood that philosophy. I mean, that's why I like Damian Lillard. He had that great quote when they asked him about pressure. He said, "Pressure? How is this pressure? I get to play basketball for a living and make millions and millions of dollars. It's not like I'm a single mother with 4 kids working 2 jobs just trying to make ends meet. That's pressure." And I love that quote by Damian Lillard, and I wish more professional athletes had that mindset that, hey, yes, they're humans too, and they have the right. They should have rights, and they should be treated with respect, and they should have the ability to do what they want when they want. I do agree to that. But at some point, you also got to realize there's a whole bunch of common folk, and probably 20 to 1, every 20 to 1 is not a good way to put it. 90% of the people in the world will probably want to trade places with you. Let's put it that way. So, I don't know where I was going with the 20 to 1. 19 out of 20 people. There you go. 19 out of 20 people will probably want to trade places with you. Side the point. All of that. We'll see what happens. Kevin Durant is still here. So, like I said, part of me wanted him gone. But now I'm kind of relieved for the time being to see what this Nets team could at least be for at least the start of the season. And if it doesn't work out, to hell with Kevin Durant. He can get traded. To hell with Kyrie Irving. They can get rid of him and send him to the Lakers if possible or somewhere else. To hell with who else would be the problem. Who knows? Who knows if Steve Nash is going to make it through, the first half of the season? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. So, there you have it. I'm going to wrap up this episode with pretty much my final message to Kevin Durant. And I kind of touched upon it through that little, venting rabble I just did. And first of all, Kevin Durant's probably not watching NetsBoy. Very few people do watch NetsBoy. I have 162 subscribers. I'm lucky to get 50 views an episode, whatever, blah, 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 blah. So I strongly doubt Kevin Durant is one of my viewers or subscribers. Though it would be interesting. But if it was, he'd probably be commenting profusely. A lot! Can't talk sometimes. Down with everything that I'm saying, because with a burner account or something, or even himself, we'll see. He'll probably be commenting. But anyway, here's my message to Kevin Durant. As a Nets fan, I don't trust you. You have slapped me as a fan in the face. You have disrespected this franchise that I have supported for over 20 years. You have completely taken advantage of the situation that this organization has provided for you. To me, we call that a snake. When someone appears to be one thing and is secretly slithering around after things don't go their way, after they mess it up. That's right. I see Kevin Durant as a snake. Maybe he's not. Maybe that's harsh. But I don't trust him. Because of these things that he has done, because of the way he has handled himself through this adversity that was caused not just by him, but a contributing factor of players and things, but he was a major part. I don't trust you, and I won't trust you. Every game you say something, I'm going to think you don't really mean it. Anytime you say or do something that looks like I should be happy, I'm not going to trust it. And I will never trust it, or I will never trust you. The only thing that I ask for at this point is to just win a championship. Just do it. You win me a championship, you win this organization a championship, this Nets organization a championship, we're good. But if you don't deliver a championship and you continue all this unnecessary drama of wanting to be traded and backing out and just being a snake, to hell with you. And even on my team, even if you commit through this year and say, I'm happy, I want to be here, I will never believe you, I will never trust you, and honestly, I will never respect you. Because through adversity shows true character, especially adversity that is brought upon by yourself. And when you give up on facing that adversity head on so easily, then you don't have respect in my eyes. So let's just end with this. Let's all just shut up and hoop. Until the next NetsBoy episode, which will probably be right around our training camp starts after media day, so we can talk about what was said in the media day, as well as maybe reflect on this roster. Like I said, there's still a few roster spots open. Nets need another big. I mean, just get Dwight Howard. He fits so perfect. Never mind. We won't discuss that right now. Until then, this is NetsBoy. Just kind of shrugging and seeing what's going to happen. And signing off.